All right, today we are diving deep into the works of the ancient historian Flavius Josephus. We're going to pull back the curtain on a story of pure ambition, betrayal, and some seriously deadly family politics, all happening inside the court of King Herod. This one gets pretty dark, so let's jump right in.
Okay, so before we get into the chaos, you gotta know who's who. This is our cast of characters, and believe me, it's a complicated web. At the top, you've got Herod the Great ruling Judea around 7 BC. Then there's his eldest son and heir, Antipater. Remember that name? His ambition is a huge driver of this story. We also have Herod's brother, Pharos, and his very sharp sister, Salome. And you really need to pay close attention to Pharos's wife. She's not just a minor character. She's about to light the fuse on this whole thing. This isn't just a royal court. It's a powder keg, and it's about to go off.
So here's the deal with Antipater. He's not just hoping to be king anymore. He sees the throne as his for the taking. And that certainty, well, it changes him. Josephus says he becomes intolerable. Instead of trying to win people over, he decides his best path to power is through fear. He's actively trying to terrify everyone around him, creating this incredibly paranoid and dangerous atmosphere in the palace.
But you know, the men weren't the only ones playing these dangerous games. Oh no. A very powerful group of women in the court started forming their own secret alliances, and that added a whole new layer of intrigue and chaos to Herod's reign. And just look who was in this inner circle. It was led by Pharaoh's wife. See, I told you she was important. And it included her own mother and sister, and even Antipater's mother. I mean, talk about a family affair. They got so bold, so insolent, that they started openly disrespecting King Herod's own daughters. This wasn't just palace gossip. This was a direct challenge to the king's authority, and it was all happening right under his nose. Now, in this absolute nest of vipers, Herod had one person he could trust, his sister, Salome. She saw exactly how dangerous this group was becoming, and she was not about to stay quiet. Salome essentially became Herod's personal spy, his eyes and ears, reporting back on all their secret meetings and telling the king about the plots they were whispering about in the dark.
Well, all of this secret plotting and very open disrespect finally pushed King Herod to his breaking point. He decided he had to confront this problem head-on, which, of course, led to this huge, dramatic showdown that was going to force his family to pick a side.
So Herod calls together this big assembly of all his friends and family, and he does not hold back. He stands up and publicly accuses his sister-in-law, Pharor's wife, of a whole laundry list of crimes. We're talking insulting his daughters, sure, but also financing his political rivals, the Pharisees, and, get this, using love potions to turn his own brother against him. I mean, these aren't just minor complaints. This is basically a charge of high treason.
After laying out all these insane charges, Herod turns to his brother, Pharos, and he puts him in an impossible position. He basically says, okay, who's it going to be? Me, your brother, your king, or her, your wife? This wasn't just a quiet family chat. This was a public loyalty test, and you better believe the entire court was watching to see what would happen.
And Pharor's answer is just stunning. It's so defiant. He looks his brother, the king, right in the eye and says he would rather die than give up his wife. Wow. That single sentence just drew a massive line in the sand. Pharos made his choice, and by doing so, he directly defied the most powerful man in the kingdom.
So with all this family drama hitting a fever pitch, the court basically becomes unstable. And when there's that much chaos, well, it starts to attract danger from the outside too. The threats against Herod weren't just coming from inside the family anymore. Meanwhile, the ever-cunning Antipater sees this storm brewing and makes an absolutely brilliant move. See, Herod had forbidden him from even talking to Pharos. So he gets his allies to suggest to the king that he should be sent to Rome on an official trip. And Herod agrees. He sends him off with this huge entourage and, most importantly, with Herod's own will, which officially names Antipater as the next king. In one single move, he gets out of the drama and solidifies his claim to the throne. Pretty smart.
But while all that's going on, a completely separate plot starts to take shape. An old enemy, a guy named Sylleus the Arabian, sees all the chaos in Herod's court and thinks, you know what? This is the perfect time to get rid of the king for good, and so he starts putting together an assassination plot. And let me tell you just how close Herod came to being killed. Sylleus actually bribes one of Herod's own personal bodyguards. The only reason the plot failed is because Herod's steward was secretly working for the king and revealed the whole thing. The bodyguard and his buddies are arrested immediately, and under torture, they spill everything. Herod just barely escapes with his life.
So, surviving that assassination attempt, it only made Herod's resolve that much stronger. His patience with his defiant brother, Pheroras, was completely gone. He decided it was finally time to end this internal threat once and for all.
Since Pheroras absolutely would not back down and leave his wife, Herod felt like he only had one option left. He banished them. He literally cast his own brother and his sister-in-law out of the kingdom. This wasn't just a timeout. This was a total and complete severing of their family bond.
And as he was leaving, Pheroras makes this chilling, solemn vow. He swears an oath that he will never set foot in Herod's kingdom again as long as his brother is alive. The only thing, he declared, that would ever bring him back would be the news of Herod's death. The split was now absolute.
But fate, as it turns out, has a really twisted sense of irony. Just a short time after going into exile and making that dramatic oath, Pheroras himself gets sick, unexpectedly and very seriously ill. His vow to never return while Herod was alive was about to be fulfilled, just not in the way anyone imagined. He dies, far from home, in exile.
Now, Herod's reaction to all this is fascinating. When he hears his brother is sick, he actually goes to him, he visits him, seems to care for him, and when Pheroras dies, Herod mourns him. But the court is so toxic, so steeped in suspicion, that even this act of compassion gets twisted. A rumor immediately starts to spread that Herod didn't mourn his brother. He murdered him with poison.
And the story ends with this final, incredible contrast. Herod has his brother's body brought back to Jerusalem, and he throws this huge, magnificent, state-sponsored funeral. A grand, public display of grief and honor for the very same man that he had so bitterly banished from his kingdom just a little while before.
And that really leaves us with a heavy question, doesn't it? In a world like this one, a world built on paranoia, where every kind act is suspected of being a trick, is it even possible for anyone's story to have a truly noble end? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for exploring this with us.